欢迎来到频道，这是来找新主。Hey everyone, and welcome to the Channel Break, and this is From the Verse, where I casually run over some Star Citizen news that I find interesting in the last week or so. So let's get into it. First things first, there's not really much coming out from CIG, and that's obviously due to CitizenCon coming this Saturday on the 8th of October. If you don't know, CitizenCon is where the developers stream for an ungodly amount of time with loads of news and info on the project and what's in store for the future of Star Citizen. But we will touch on that again a little bit later. So let's talk about patch notes. So patch note wise, there's nothing really. The Evo Carty is being delayed, which is where they test the 3.18 update, and it's been delayed, but they do say it is gonna come at some point, so it must be in the very near future. So we'll touch on 3.18. Apparently it is still on schedule for mid-November, in line with the IAE, which is the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which is a big ass ship show. You can try a load of ships for free, and they've got a bunch of sales on at the same time, so you can try them and get them for a cheaper price. So fingers crossed they get it all tied in together. However, time is ticking, and we've got about 6 weeks till the supposed release of 3.18. I'm still saying anything before Christmas would be great, so yeah, maybe we'll find out during CitizenCon a little bit more. Fingers crossed. Next, we'll talk about the ISC. As I said, due to CIG being rather quiet, due to the CitizenCon coming up, there's not a huge amount to discuss on the Inside Star Citizen videos. However, I did miss a week due to work being a tad brutal recently, so I can roll both the week's ISC videos into one bite-sized chunk. Firstly, if you didn't notice the introduction to the video today, which you should, was me speaking my best and only Mandarin I'll probably ever speak. This is because CIG are working on language localization for Star Citizen and Squadron 42. So what does it mean? Well, check out what they say.
Localization is much more than just translation.
We have the full control of the tone we want to give to the game.
The localization specialists want to break the language barrier.
We're really trying to give players the best experience we can.
And understanding how important it is to take games to other audiences.
We've started thinking about localization very early at CIG.
Well, usually localization is one of the last steps in game development.
In this particular situation, we wanted to make sure we have aligned everything from
legal text, marketing, dialogue, scripts for dubbing, anything that has to do with UI, descriptions.
We want to make sure that everyone can enjoy the game, regardless of wherever they are in the world.
Visually, you can see the work that an art team or a cinematics team do, and you can go, yeah, I can see the flair there. But it's not until you speak a lot of these languages that you understand that maybe there's an Easter egg, maybe the wording is lifted from a Han Solo monologue or something, and then you're like, oh my god, you squeezed that in and it fits. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
We are all very passionate about the projects, both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, and we want to make sure that the translations provided are the best possible.
This, of course, is great news for everyone across the globe. That CIG is starting it this early is also a good thing, because there's bound to be a lot of script to translate, and you don't want to leave that too late. I did see in the comments section, actually, a great idea that outposts and colonies, certain ones should use maybe foreign signage and languages, and it would feel more alien to non-native speakers. And it seems like a no-brainer for me if it's already been put into the game. Next up is that pesky crime stat, mainly for all the good people of the verse. When you have a little accident and you get a crime stat, and you'll soon be able to land at stations and ports and pay off your debt. This is only up to crime stat 2, however, so the real criminals among us will have to go to Korea to clear their crime stat. And Korea is getting a big update as well, bringing a whole new level of gameplay in the game, as well as Kleshner Prison, which is seeing a rework as well, which is all good stuff. This is what they say about the crime stat.
Since the last time we spoke, Korea has changed a lot in its environment. We've been sort of building up and sort of breathing new life into it, making it on par with some of our other locations in terms of branding and sort of how we want the player to move through the space. With this, CS1 and 2, Crime Stat 1 and 2, are no longer going to be things that get you shocked or get you, stop you from landing at a location. These fines will essentially just be like mini slaps on the wrists. Law enforcement will comment on them when they stop you and tell you to go pay your fines off, but they're not going to be as big of a meaning as they once was. Alongside this, we've also added other ways for the players to get rid of their sort of criminality. The fine kiosks that you can find all around now have a button that allows you to surrender to law enforcement. This gives you the 20% discount of your time served when you go into prison. And as always, this is going to go live and we're going to continue iterating on it, reading feedback and making improvements. Since the last time we talked about Klesher and the new updates to that, things are going along nicely. We have AI walking about. They have loot on them. They're making the environment feel more alive. The black spot is in. The mission is working. In the mission, we've added routes coming out of the wall so that even though people might know how to beeline it out of there, now they have to figure out how to get to this place they've never been to before and break the route they're normally used to and then have to rejoin, which is the difficult part because we always make the rejoining bit harder and they can fall all the way down or, whatever. So that's it for the updates to Klesher. Check it out when you get a chance.
There's also going to be new bunker-style missions on Orison. So the floating platforms that we saw in the Siege of Orison event will be being reused as bunker missions, which it's good. It gives them more of a purpose when Siege of Orison isn't on, and more content obviously makes more players happy. We saw more with the salvage gameplay, and it won't just be a PvP thing. PvE players out there will be pleased to know it's also going to be actually implemented for PvE players as well. So you won't just have to fight someone in a dogfight just to scrap their ship. There will be PvE things that you can scrap, and this is what they say about that.
So there were some questions after we released our last ISC where we talked about hull scraping. And there are some things that I can clarify from our position. So what makes a reclaimer more profitable or better in comparison to the vulture? For T0 there is no real difference. So the only difference there is you have more space to store your scraped off hull material. But the proper differences only come with salvage T1. So once we talk about munching and actually like converting proper ship debris into smaller bits, the size of the reclaimer is definitely an advantage here. Some comments were all asking about how can we use the scraper beam in an offensive manner. Technically you can, but you have to make sure that the target ship has its shield deactivated. So as long as another ship is shielded, you will not be able to touch the hull because there's like this energy field that is protecting the hull. We saw that you were already asking for what about players that are not interested in any combat scenario or in waiting others to shoot themselves to shreds and then picking up the debris pieces for profit from the hull scraping. Well, we have a solution for you. And the miners of you might already know it. So we will expand our harvestable system to also facilitate to spawn fresh derelicts. And what are fresh derelicts? Basically, they are just the husks of existing ships that have a probability to spawn in asteroid fields or basically around all the Lagrange points. And you will be able to find them using scanning and then approach them like you would do with a mineable and then scrape off their hull.
So salvage looks to be heading in a good direction for bot PvP and PvPers. I'll be looking forward to giving it a go myself if I can afford a ship to do so, or hopefully jump aboard and be a crew for someone else to see how it all works. So moving on to some other stuff. So thanks to CitizenCon coming up, we're all getting a free plushie, some clothing, and, well, what goes well with clothing and a free plushie? Of course, a grenade launcher. So there's a little bonus there for everyone who's bought the game, obviously before October the 8th. Let's talk CitizenCon and what it entails. So it's coming in a few days. There's 7 main topics, I believe, that will be covered. And they'll probably go quite in depth with them. It looks like it's going to be a good way to learn more about the game's future, and it's going to be my first one. I think I'm going to live stream it, as much of it as I can, right here on the channel. So we can watch it and have a chat together if you want, and of course mock me for my huge honker or general facial hair. The choice is, however, yours, but I'll be happy if you fancy popping in, saying hello, and discussing what CIG's next moves are. It's short and sweet, but that is me for this week. And from the verse. If you got something from this, then please give it a like and consider subscribing for more from me. And a huge thank you to Brave Little Crumpet for the support over at my Patreon. It means a lot, and as promised, your name will be up on the screen at the end of the video. Obviously not covering me, because that would be stupid and rather unprofessional. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.